All right, we are on the other side of page 36. And we are talking about reflections, not the song from Mulan. Or I guess the old Mulan. I don't know if it's in the new Mulan. Okay, reflection. We talked about this a ton in science, that when we think about a mirror, a reflection is like I'm looking into a mirror and it makes it look like I can see myself, that what is over here. We also talked about it in terms of like a flashlight, that if you see the flashlight beams coming out at you like this from the mirror, it tricks your brain into looking like the flashlight's back here and is sending out those beams, when actually probably you really have the flashlight like right here and it's sending out beams that are bouncing off. Okay, hopefully that didn't royally confuse you. If it did, sorry. We're talking today about when you need to reflect a point across an axis. So to start with today, you're going to need to draw several coordinate planes. So we're not going to draw them gigantor like we did on the last page. Being about that big will be perfect. And we're going to start by talking about reflecting across the x-axis. So let's cross the x-axis, and we'll do about 3 there. And I want you to take a highlighter and highlight the x-axis, which is the one that's horizontal. Okay, so when I reflect across the x-axis, I'm imagining that this is my mirror. So if I get the point, let's give me some points. 3, 5, -2, 4, -1, 0. Sure. Okay. When I reflect across the x-axis, let's start up here and let's do 3 to 5. So we are going to go over 3, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 3, 5. Now I want to imagine if I held up a mirror here, and maybe you've seen these, there's like transparent mirrors and they'll actually let you see where it would land on the other side. It's going to reflect across the x-axis and it's going to show up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at 3, -5. So here's the reflection. Maybe I should use a different color. The original point was at 3, 5. This is the reflection. Take a minute and notice what happened to the coordinates. Let's do another one. Let's do this one. Let's do -2, 4. So I go over -2, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over -2, up 4. Here's the original point. Reflected across the x-axis. So make it go whoop, like if you're taking this, fold it in half. If this was a lot of paint, where would the paint show up over here? It would show up at -2, -4. Again, take a look at the coordinates. Notice what happened. And lastly, we have -1, 0. So why don't you try this one? First plot -1, 0, and then reflect it, and then we'll see how you did. All right. So -1, 0 is right here. When we reflect it across the x-axis, it stays right where it is. Because if we look at what changed in all of these, we went from the first number always stayed the same, the x coordinate always stayed the same, and the y coordinate became the opposite, right? So 5 to -5, 4 to negative 4. Well, there isn't really an opposite of 0. The opposite of 0 is 0. Okay? So when we reflect across the x-axis, you can just look at it and know where it would be, but you can also think about the fact that the x-axis, the x-coordinate will stay the same, the y-coordinate will become the opposite. You can probably already start to develop some theories about what will happen when we reflect across the x-axis. I mean the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis, of course, is the one that goes up and down. So if I take those same points just because I am brain dead, we'll do 3, 5, negative 2, 4, and negative 1, 0. Now we're going to reflect them across the y-axis. So 3, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam, there's the original point. Okay. When I reflect it across the y-axis, it's like a piece of paper, right? I fold, unfold, see where the paint blot would be. It's going to be over here. I forgot to change colors again. I even had it in my hand. The reflection point is negative 3, 5. So look what happened when we reflected across the y-axis. What changed? Let's go over here and try this one. Negative 2, 4. Okay, negative 2, 4. Reflected across the x-axis or the y-axis. Whoop. Now our coordinate is 2, 4. So look what changed. And then lastly, negative 1, 0. Now this time it actually has somewhere to go, right? Whoop. It's going to go to 1, 0. Notice what changed. So in all of these, when we reflect across the y-axis, the y-coordinate always stayed the same. The x-coordinate became the opposite. And again, this is something that you can do it by the numbers. If you're a numbers person, you can do it by the look of it. If you're someone who just is better at visualizing it. But either way, now you know how to reflect a point across an axis. And I just want to reinforce this again, just like I said in the last video, there's no shortcut for remembering which one is the x. The x is always the horizontal, and the y is always the vertical. You just have to somehow memorize that, and then the rest is smooth sailing.